Hello friends, this is Anand, and in this video I'll talk about why being at same level is curse and what are important areas that you need to focus on when you are starting a startup, but at the same time when you are investing in the startup, what things to look at. तो हम ये वीडियो में ये सब चीजें जानेंगे. तो ये वीडियो स्टार्ट करने से पहले लेट मी डिस्कस वन स्टोरी विथ यू, एंड दिस इज समथिंग रियल स्टोरी आई मेड लाइक वन फाउंडर अ few days ago, and this is just a reflection that I wanted to share our mindset and what can we do to overcome this. As mentioned, this is something that I'm also learning, so would love to hear your thoughts like in the comment section. But let's start first and think about the areas that we need to focus on to create a wonderful startup ecosystem. तो मैं एक चीज शेयर करता हूँ. What happened few days ago, मैंने वहाँ पे थोड़ा इन्वेस्ट भी किया है वो कंपनी में, and I was talking to this person from this company, and I really don't want to take the name because again I really want to promote the thought process rather than talking and blaming any of the companies. तो कैसे हुआ कि I met this startup investor. I mean, he is an amazing passionate person. I mean, he really is looking forward to creating a lot of interesting things through his startup. And one thing that I found that he has been working on this idea from past couple of years. His team is equally passionate. सब कुछ अच्छा है, but startup is not seeing that growth, and this happens with many startups, and the reasons could also be very different. But ये केस में ना मुझे जो लगा कि one thing that this startup should do differently, ये मैं आपसे आज शेयर करने वाला हूँ. तो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज कोई भी स्टार्टअप में है वो है इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. Right? So it's not about any investor investing in your startup. It is about investing your funds, investing your time, investing your energy in the right resources so that you will see the maximum output from your startup. तो हम वो इन्वेस्टमेंट के बारे में आज जानेंगे कि क्या चीज़ें हैं, कौन सी चीज़ें हैं जो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है आपके स्टार्टअप के लिए, एंड हाउ यू शुड स्पेंड योर टाइम ऑन दिस स्टार्टअप्स टू एंश्योर दैट यू गेट द मैक्सिमम ROI थ्रू दिस स्टार्टअप. तो पहली चीज़ तो ये है कि कोई भी स्टार्टअप stagnant level पे नहीं रह सकती. I remember working in one of the companies back in 2004-2005, where the CEO used to tell that look Anand, I want to create this company with only 30-35 employees, not more than that, because that's what I'm thinking is the best way to actually grow. Now when I look back I was really surprised by the clarity that he had, what he really wanted to do. But मैं अभी देखता हूँ तो मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि you just cannot create a company and you can say that नहीं ये नहीं ग्रो होने वाली है, ये इतनी रहेगी, इतना ही काम करेगी. ऐसे नहीं होता. If you are investing or if you are getting investments from someone, you really need to grow because people are investing on the growth of the startup, on getting the returns from the startup in some or the other way. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, एंड वी रियली नीड टू फोकस ऑन दिस टू सी व्हाट नीड्स टू बी डन टू एंश्योर दैट योर स्टार्टअप इज कंटिन्यूअसली ग्रोइंग. तो मैंने ना 3-4 चीजें देखी है कि एक तो पहली चीज, आप सबके पास मोबाइल है. ओके, तो आप शायद ये मोबाइल पे भी देख रहे हो. आप में से कितने लोगों के पास पेड एप्स है? बहुत कम, राइट? And I remember some of my friends, they were so proud that they have iPhone, but they don't have any paid app. तो इसका मतलब क्या है? Are you saving money out of this? अरे ये मोबाइल या ये कोई सब चीजें हैं, they are for increasing our productivity, and if you are unable to increase your productivity by using apps, even if they are paid, of course we should find out the alternative. We should find out the cheaper one. We should find out there are a lot of good apps that are free as well. But many great apps are paid, and you have to pay. You have to have that mindset that $1, $2, 100 rupees, 200, 300 rupees. I mean, this is the amount that we spend on coffee and tea in a day, right? Depending on where you go. But you need to have a mindset where if it is going to save at least even 1 or 2 hours of your time, you should just go ahead and buy that app. And यही माइंडसेट. तो मैं वो जो स्टार्टअप की बात कर रहा था, तो वो कह रहा था कि I mean, look, I mean, what I've done is I've found amazing, open source for this particular functionality. I mean, this was related to CRM, and he said, right, like, look, I've set up a team. I mean, they are helping me. And when the CRM is not his core business, if he's spending so much time on creating that software and using it for himself, it's not valuable use of his time as well as his colleagues' time. So it is very important to understand that when you are creating a startup, you should focus only on core of your business, and other ideas, right? Like, I mean, that is not core. You should just like try to buy or leverage, right? Like through someone who has already created that specific address that specific challenge. तो ये चीज मैंने उससे कही कि I mean, look, I mean, the CRM software is perhaps 1,000, 2,000. I mean, there are a lot of interesting CRM platforms. I mean, there are even free platforms that helps you to use their platform until some specific stage. But ये CRM का, this is just one example, right? I mean, there could be a lot of other tools, right? Like for automating your things. So investing in your tools that will increase ROI or like save your time and make you more productive, you should just go ahead and buy that. And this mindset again, right, like it's very important, because as a company we don't want to stay stagnant. We want to increase our productivity, and investing in the right tools will help you increase your productivity. So ensure that you're spending enough time, right, like on right platforms and right tools. Now, second important thing is to have, right, like the right team that knows how to use these tools, how to use these platforms. And once you set the strategy, they should be able to follow that as well in a right way. This will increase investing your time, your team's time, and getting maximum out of their involvement, right, in the startup and in the whatever work that they are doing. Now, one more thing is investing in travel. I have seen, right, like, and this is something to me as well. I always used to feel that, right, like going out. I used to travel quite a lot. Then, during pandemic, right, like I stopped traveling. But when I started the journey, right, like I remember one very interesting conversation with CEOs of one of the listed companies I had. He told me that, look, Anand, if you want to get business, you have to go out. You should not stay in your office. You should just go out and talk to a lot of people. And, I mean, depending on the type of your business, if your business is focused on B2B, then you should meet, right, like a lot of corporates. If it's B2C, you should find out partners, channels, ways to understand, right, like how other companies are doing. But you need to travel, you need to talk to people, you need to meet a lot of people, meet individuals. Like I had that inertia, right, like यार क्यों बाहर जाना है? And specifically, right, like for people from Pune, they just don't want to go out. At least that's what like is in my case. But I have to have that mindset to go out and talk to a lot of people, क्योंकि उनसे बात करने से तुम्हें आइडियाज तो बहुत आती है, तुम्हें कनेक्शंस मिलते हैं, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम बिजनेस हैपेंस through personal connections. So ensure that you're spending really good amount of time, right, like in networking. Don't save money over there. Invest as much as possible. Have that mindset and create something which will give more ROI than your existing level. क्योंकि मैंने ऐसे कहा कि startups needs to grow. They cannot stay stagnant. It's a curse, right, like on the startup. I mean, if they are stagnant. So let's try to find out ways. तुम्हारे स्टार्टअप के लिए तुम कौन से वेज यूज करोगे? शेयर देम, राइट, लाइक विथ ऑल ऑफ अस इन कमेंट्स, and would be very happy to listen to them, reflect on them, and in the future would love to talk about that as well with you if there is an opportunity. So I hope you like this video, and I'll come up with, right, like interesting videos like my thoughts, my reflections. Would love to hear your reflections as well on them. Thank you, and speak to you soon. Bye.